Great, thanks, Timmy. And as a partner with KTL, we're very pleased to present to you a supply chain automation webinar. The Microsoft Dynamics ERP is a very robust financial tool. It's got great inventory capabilities. What we offer is a way to supplement and complement the solution and extend barcode mobile automation. So want to kind of dive into that today. Here's a brief look at our agenda. Myself, Steve Dwyer, Chief Sales and Marketing Officer, joined by Brianna Miller, our Marketing Coordinator, and she does project coordination, and we'll be doing our demonstration of the Without Wire product today. So you can see what are some of the advancements in supply chain mobility. So let's get started. At Apple, we talk about the art of inventory and those three key ingredients as your trusted advisor, along with your advisor as a KTL reseller, and then the adaptive architecture of our homogeneous Microsoft-centric design, and the Without Wire, or WOW for short, intuitive technologies. Apple was founded in 2001. We have years of distribution and manufacturing experience on the team. We are a gold certified partner of Microsoft, and as a proven solution, we have over 200 active sites around the world. We have a unique methodology in how we scope, design, and deploy solutions, whether that's starting with a barcoded physical inventory count or taking on the four walls of your warehouse for the receiving, the put away, the pick, pack, ship kinds of operations. But we can also extend out to the field in those remote inventories in trucks, trunks, and closets, or do manufacturing in about a variety of six different ways to tackle that. You can see what people are saying about Apple out in the LinkedIn GP user group profiles. As an example, one of our customers talks about increased productivity, accuracy, and employee performance through the use of our system. Another one talks about the complex multi-system platform with the requirements of many unique solutions to their challenges. So we can go simple or complex. In fact, Camellia does represent one of our case studies where they're actually now owned by Swarovski, but they had, when they initiated this engagement with us, they were looking for a 90-day deployment, less than 12-month return on their investment. They need high accuracy in their picking because they are picking small little gems, and they're actually deploying a 2D barcode about 1/8 the size of a postage stamp. So very small barcodes to handle that application for them. But their drivers for their return on investment came around advanced order allocation, vendors shipping multiple barcoded formats and trying to cross-reference those to their internal SKU and part numbers, unique picking requirements, and we'll talk later about the variety of picking options for you. And then the automation of quality control, which was a two-step kind of manual process, looking at ways to automate that. Many times, companies pick up the phone and give us a phone call when they're looking to protect their corporate brand image through the recall capabilities in compliance with things like Food Safety Modernization Act. Reichel had 16,000 pounds of meat with concerns of listeria over the dates shipped July 23rd to 26th, and they needed to recall that product. And about a week later, I followed up and got this quote from the customer. WOW did its job for us. We did not have any issues with tracking. We found everything produced, and it correlated with what was shipped. So that's ultimately the objective, is to give you, rather than a shotgun approach in your supply chain, give you that rifle shot forward and backward so that you can protect your customers and trace back to your suppliers if needed. As an adaptive architecture, we're built completely on the Microsoft stack, SQL 2008, 2012, full Microsoft Office integration. We integrate to any ERP as we are a very scalable solution, but we do invest heavily in Microsoft and its channels and leverage Microsoft's IT investments so that we can provide a predictable, sustainable roadmap and upgrade path, including things like Active Directory design for single sign-ons so that you can have that SOX compliance. We are deployed in a couple of ways. It can be on-premise with your IT servers and next to your Dynamics ERP today, or in the Microsoft Azure cloud or other hosted models. And the cloud is an interesting subscription model where we're really talking about and measuring transactions as opposed to user license, named users, concurrent users. We're just watching what our purchase order lines received and sales order lines fulfilled on a monthly basis. And as your business grows, you can go month to month and select different price bands. Or seasonality, ramp it up and then ramp it down after the Q4 retail season as an example. We do have 30-day trial capabilities, smartphone and tablet capabilities that we'll get into here as well. But great ways to experience our product with your items and your bins. It's a great way to show your executives what we're talking about in terms of driving that ROI before any investments are made. From a demographic standpoint, really we're looking at anyone who tracks inventory of any kind, but we do have key verticals in food and beverage, medical, supplies, device, hospitals, and clinics. Consumer packaged goods, and we're split 50-50 between distribution and manufacturing types of clients. Typically, a company that's right is probably 10 million in revenue and higher, 5+ mobile device users, lot or serial number tracking challenges, and a paper-intensive process that they're looking to automate. This gives you a cross-section of the types of customers we deal with. Human food, animal food, animal feed here, pet food, and beverages, whether it's wine, microbrew, colas. On this food side here, you've got dairy, sugar substitute, condiments for restaurants, fast food chains, Fleischmann's yeast, salad dressings, snacks, kind of kids' healthy snacks, oatmeal, so a real variety there that you probably recognize some of those names. And then from a medical, chemical, CPG, it can be pharma, pedigree tracking, GS1 barcode requirements, and or over to distribution of hospitality type supplies, chemical manufacturing, distribution, plastics manufacturing, and you may recognize, some of you may recognize Lava Lamp, the original. So a real cross-section there. And then finally, in the field service side, some real exciting things happening here, particularly with the developments we've done in smartphone and tablet and what that can do to really give real-time visibility, kind of shining that flashlight on those inventories, whether they're in trucks, trunks, closets, satellite warehouses, anywhere that they could exist. And now with any device, you can view and track those. So lighting, fire security, and telecom, HVAC and mechanical contractors, medical industrial equipment, testing and inspection, oil, gas, solar types of verticals, including offline or batch mode, also called store and forward. So deploying the art of inventory and those three key ingredients has resulted in the kind of exponential growth that you're seeing here, approaching 700, maybe over 700 sites by the end of this year. From a product overview, we have that best-of-breed warehouse management capability you would expect in your supply chain mobile automation solution. On the receiving side, put away, cycle counting in real time. So we're not talking about counting during nights and weekends. We can do it concurrent throughout the day through our ABC item class selections. The physical inventory capability, inventory adjustment, perhaps at the supervisory level. You don't want everyone just making those adjustments. 5 or 6 different ways to do manufacturing. We'll show you a bill of materials pulled into our system for a kitting example today. but there's deeper functionality that we can get into as follow-up. And on the outbound, we can do very streamlined, easy single order picks, or get into batch picking, wave picking, printing final documents, shipping in a variety of ways, capturing signatures, pro numbers, truck seals, and other confirmations. Traditional rugged devices work great, and we've got a very nice user interface there. We also have the smartphones, tablets, and you'll get to compare and contrast the interfaces and the workflows and kind of decide for yourself which one feels right for you. So that's warehouse management, the four walls, or the extension to remote sites, field service, and even doing deliveries of inventory is pretty exciting advancements. Some of the reasons people are looking at smartphones and tablets, one is the user interface, very intuitive, particularly for those millennials who are very comfortable on smartphones. The processing power and speeds up to 15 times faster than the traditional rugged device. And the uptime, if a device should go down, to recover that, your settings from the cloud, just like you do with a smartphone today, is really minutes or hour versus weeks and months on a refurb of the traditional. And of course, up to a third the cost of the traditional, so you've got a lot of economies of scale there as well. The accessories to mount, to lock, to waterproof, to pistol grip and protect and provide that rapid scanning, or the camera as a scanner, wearables such as a wrist strap, or Bluetooth enabled to get that hands-free picking and lifting of inventory items, and even the mounting of these on a forklift. We're seeing more and more of that, powered by the forklift, really is becoming a unique solution and creating a bit of a revolution. On the remote site side, we really want to look to drive maybe on min-max settings, just-in-time replenishments of inventory out to those sites, and just real-time tracking so you can better use your precious cash resources. And you can see kind of the beautiful screens here that are capable and enabled through smartphones and tablets, even an iTouch. On the field service side, we talked about the verticals, but the ability to track parts and supplies to jobs, work orders, service tickets, projects, from the depot to the trucks, trunks, or field tech sites, so you can again auto-replenish and the techs make one trip and complete that job, real-time track the completion of the job, so you can get that invoice out a lot quicker as well. I'll show you a brief illustration here of how this would work. You've got three systems really, your ERP. This could be GP Field Service, Wensoft, Field Connect, Field Point, any of those tools here. And then the warehouse management. How do all three of these work together? Let's take a look. You do your typical PO creation, receiving, and results. So you close that loop. Then you do your transfers out to satellites or all the way out to the tech bins. You issue those parts against jobs that were created. The ability to return parts, again, tied to those jobs or separate. And then on the job site, you can consume parts, track those, perhaps upsell parts that you didn't expect to install, track those as well, communicate with the field service tool. Remember, we talked about this could be GP Field Service, Wensoft, Field Connect, Field Point, or others. Make inventory requests, record the consumption, and then create that real-time invoice either here or back to the ERP itself. So then bringing those returns back to the depot, those may be valuable parts we don't want sitting out there on trucks if they're not going to be used. They may need to restock, refurb, or return for warranty. We want to be able to do all that in a very automated fashion, keeping the ERP in real-time synchronized. I'll look at those screens, and Brianne will show you these as well, but clicking on jobs opens up this screen where you can get a lot of data tracked of inventory movements tied to jobs, or the return screens and how you can create a return against a job as well. So you get to see that. And in terms of visibility, you still have visibility to your inventory within your ERP system. You have the capability of our web console, which is kind of an air traffic control center. Brianna will show you that. SQL Server reporting services and the Office integration. So 4 key ways wherever your material is and flowing throughout your operations. Schematically, Great Plains or Microsoft Dynamics, web service to eConnect from Without Wire, our warehouse product, where you still have in Dynamics as the master of items, customers, vendors, POs and sales orders along with invoicing. That's all going to stay. Lot tracking and single bin is the preferred if we take that complexity into our system, though you could do it in both. You have the PO receiving, sales order fulfillment, replenishments, bin transfers, inventory adjustments, and cycle counts within Without Wire. So the purchase order is created, the truck arrives, we do the receiving on the mobile device, report those results back in a batch to be posted. Sales orders are created, picked, packed, printing final documents, shipped, potentially right from the handheld, making calls to FedEx and UPS. And those results are provided back to your Dynamics ERP so they can be reviewed, posted, and invoiced. Manufacturing, there's a variety of ways to create finished goods, back flush those raw materials or decrement them, and we'll look at a simple kitting example today. On the receiving side, there are GS1 barcode standards where one scan can parse out a great deal of information, or your vendors may have a collection of different barcodes, 1D, 2D, and you may want to cross-reference those to your internal part and SKU number. And we'll show you through the Acquire Barcode capabilities how that can work. And then on the picking side, single order, batch pick, wave pick, FIFO, strict or suggested, FIFO, first expired, first out, if you have expiration date needs, and then zone picking and order splitting capabilities. Printing those final documents and then capturing on the ship side and reporting those results back. So that order may come in and you may want to flow right down to the next available worker on their mobile device, or you may have some complexities in your business where you want to split an order into 2 pallets to be picked by 2 pickers, stage together, ship together, or we have cubing capabilities and the web console, that air traffic control center, to kind of direct who does picking on a large Walmart order, for example. Maybe you want your senior pickers on that. Your temporary pickers may be working on some other orders. The manufacturing, you'll see Brianna get into that, but we will also have a solution we're happy to share with you as a follow-up in terms of taking GP, creating MOs, releasing those, creating a pick list of those raw materials, bringing that forward into the manufacturing location so that you can create finished goods, backflush raw materials, and write those MO receipts in real time right back to GP. So a very affordable and efficient solution there with our partnership with Willowware. We're happy to talk in more detail there. Deploying our solution could be in Microsoft Azure, as we talked, but there's also good, better, best methods on-premise. And this one's very popular. Server 1 having these 3 items on it. Server 2 having our WOW database, SSRS, web services, and ERP database on Server 2. From an ease of use standpoint, we do have multilingual capabilities, touchscreen, icon-based, versus green screen function-driven memorization that most customers are looking to avoid. And so with that, Timmy, we're happy to answer any questions anybody may have, but if you wouldn't mind transitioning now over to Brianna's screen, and we can get into the demonstration of the Without Wire product.
All right, so I don't believe there's any questions as of right now. So we'll just jump right into it, and again, if you have any questions, you can type those in, and Timmy, if you have anything to add, you can definitely interrupt me at any time. So my name's Brianna, and I'll be doing the without wire demonstration for you today. On your screen right now, you should be able to see a rugged handheld device on the left here. Then we've got our iOS device on the right. And then in the background, in the middle here, you can see the without wire web console. So we'll be doing a little bit of back and forth between the devices and the console today. But we're just going to go ahead and jump right into our web console. I'm going to log in with my login and PIN. And anytime you log into a device or the console, you would be prompted for login information, as different users will have different levels of access throughout the system. I'm going to go ahead and log in, and that will bring me to my dashboard with some KPIs or key performance indicators. And this is just going to give me an idea of my day-to-day business, what's going on here. So if I look at the counts, I've got 9 cycle counts that are waiting to be completed, and I've got 81 items that need to be put away. So as the tasks are completed or new tasks are created throughout the day, these charts will update. We go take a look in our system maintenance under security. User maintenance is going to be where you create all of your WOW users, and each of those users will be assigned to a group or groups within the system. Now these here are the base set of groups that we create when we deploy our system. You can modify these groups or create new ones as well. But if I click on edit, it'll take us in and it will show what you have what options you have when setting security. So we have here the web roles. That will be everything within the web console. The pocket roles is going to be the rugged handheld device. The iOS roles would be for an iOS or Android smartphone or tablet. And then the report roles. Just really quick, if we take a look at the reports here, these are all the base reports that come without wire, and the receiving user is only going to have access to these reports that have a check in the box. Now, if I wanted to add reports, I simply just put checks in the box here. I can, check these and then click save, and that user group will then be modified. So it's very easy to go in and make modifications to groups. So most of our customers use, an integration, whether it be, Dynamics, SL, anything like that. They use integration, but our system does not require you to have any integration as well. So we have a data setup option that will allow you, if you wanted to import your own bins, items, and vendors, you can do that from here as well, and then export your records, whether it be at the end of the day, at the end of the week, or however you'd like to set that up. So there is functionality there as well as an option. We will jump right into our inbound receiving. So if I go here, I'm in inbound, I'm going to go to our receiving console. This will allow you to filter purchase orders by a specific date, by a purchase order number. You could search a specific item and it would show you all the purchase orders that item is in. You could also search by vendor number, filter by a specific vendor, or a status of the order, the purchase order. If I click on filter, it's going to pull all purchase orders in for me. And if you see each of these columns within the table, if you click on the column header, it's actually a button that is going to sort that column. So you see I clicked on weight and it sorted that column there. You can also remove columns if you don't need them to make your chart smaller here. And we'll look at, there's this details link, and we will look at that in just a moment. When we finished receiving our purchase order, we'll go look at that purchase order details. So we've got a couple of different options around the assignment of purchase orders. How my system is currently set up is I have integration with GP Dynamics at this time, or Dynamics GP. So I have created my purchase order in GP, and then it integrates into without wire, and as soon as we have that purchase order in without wire, it automatically assigns out to all of my receiving users. Once a receiving user grabs that purchase order is now assigned to them, and it is no longer available to any of the other receiving users. So we do make sure that we're not duplicating effort and having two people work on the same thing. If you don't have automatic assignment turned on, there is many different options for manual assignment. You can assign by the purchase order itself, so you could say I want purchase order 10, and then it would show the users that you could assign that purchase order to. You can assign by the user, so you could say I want Brianna to go in and I want to assign these 5 purchase orders to her. And you also can assign by the status of unassigned here. Click filter. It will show you all orders that are purchase orders that are currently unassigned. You just place a check in the box, click assign, and then it would let you select the users that you want to assign those purchase orders to, like so. But since mine are already automatically assigned, we are just going to go into our rugged device here. And before we jump right into that purchase order, I just want to take a quick look here at the user interface of the device. So I've already logged in prior to the demo just to save us some time. But if you look here, I'm logged in as an administrator just so you can see all of the different icons that are available with the rugged device. If I click on the radio button on the bottom, it's going to scroll me from screen to screen here. And you'll notice that only these bottom 6 are updating. And that's because these 3 at top are what we call fixed icons. And these icons are based on the user group. And the reason for this is that this particular user group that this user is in, these are going to be the 3 most commonly used functions for that group. So I want to be sure that no matter what page that my user is on, they're always able to see these icons, because these red bubbles here are what we call real-time updates. This is telling you how many tasks you currently have waiting to be completed in each of these icons. So if, let's say for put away, if another item needed to be put away, this will update. Or if one is, if say we put 10 items away, this would update to 71. So it gives you those real-time updates and just gives the user an indicator of how much work there still is to be completed, which is great if they're on any other page here and say they had a new purchase order come in, they would know, okay, I need to go back and work on receiving now. All right, so I'm going to click on the receiving icon here. I'll see all of my different purchase orders that are assigned and available to this user. And I'm just going to scroll down and find the one that we are going to work with today. Got here 2218. I'll click next. And now it's saying to select a receiving bin. And what this is, the example I like to use is, say when you're receiving, you may have multiple dock doors. I'm saying this is the location that I'm at that I'm bringing this inventory in. So if I had multiple dock doors, it could be, dock 1, dock 2, dock 3, dock 4. And so I'm saying, okay, this is where I'm starting my receiving. Select that, click next. And so I just have the one location in this instance, but if you had multiple, they'd all be listed there. Now I go in, I'm able to see the line that needs to be received on the purchase order. In this case, this only has one line here. So it's going to show me my purchase order number, my total quantity ordered, my vendor, and my received quantity is currently 0. Showing me the item description, quantity ordered, unit of measure, and the quantity received, which is currently 0. Now, if this item is already barcoded, you can scan it from this screen. If it is not, you can bring that inventory in, and once I receive it, it will allow me to print the UPC for that item. So I could go ahead, receive the line, and then start printing labels automatically for this item, or immediately, I mean. So I'll click on receive here. Now this item happens to be lot tracked. So it's going to prompt me to enter a lot number. If you are not doing lot tracked items, this would just pass this prompt and you would never see it. So let's enter that in. We also do serial and expiration date tracking as well. So if you had an item that was expiration date tracked, you would be prompted at that time. Now here it's saying enter or scan quantity received. Now the quantity ordered was 5, but we have some capability in our system that will allow you to over-receive if you choose to turn that configuration setting on. So you can allow for absolutely no over-receiving, or we can turn the configuration on and you can allow over-receiving, and you can set that by a specific vendor and by percentage as well. So I may only want some vendors to be, I only want to be able to receive 10% over of what was ordered, and so on and so forth. So let's say in this case there was 5 orders, so I actually got 7 in. We'll enter that 7. It then is going to give me a time and date stamp of when I started the receiving here. Shows me my items, again, my item description, my quantity received. If there's any inventory damaged, you can enter that in at this time as well. So you see this D here stands for damage. If I go down to this damaged button, we can say, oh, there was actually one that came in damaged of those 7. So it's going to say, okay, you have 7 items that you essentially had received, but one of them was damaged. So now of those 7, only 6 of them is going to actually go into your inventory. As soon as I say in receiving that an item is damaged, in WOW, it's automatically moved to the damaged location and looked at as unavailable inventory. Now the final piece is the put away here. Now you can do what we call a one-step put away, which would be, I've received this line, and before, there was only one line on this purchase order, but if there were multiple, I could say, before I go on and receive the rest of it, I just want to put this away to the inventory location within my warehouse. So I would go ahead and click put away here. And then what it's doing is saying, so it says scan an existing location or a new location to put the item away to. So this here, it's showing me bin locations where this item already exists. So it's kind of like a suggested put away. I can see here that bin 0201, that is the primary bin for this item. So it's saying this is how much is in the primary bin location. Bin 01 is a secondary location and has 49, and the damaged bin has 10. So it just kind of gives you an idea of where to put the inventory away to. Again, you do not have to put it away to these locations. It is simply just a suggestion. So if I wanted to put that away, I now need to scan my bin location. Oh, I scanned it twice, so it's giving me the... All right. So once I would go ahead and do that, now it's saying enter or scan the quantity that you'd like to put away. We want to put away all 6 in this case. Oh, I must be because I hit it twice here. So in this case, you would just put it away, but I'm just going to back out of here because I messed up the system because I scanned so many times, so I apologize for that. Oh, I upset it. All right. So then you would go ahead and you would just finish the receipt of that purchase order. I, in that case, was actually done. If you wanted to do another put away, you do not have to do that one step. You could go through and complete the entire purchase order, and then we have that put away icon that I was showing earlier. So you may have some users that, I have just my receiving users, just my put away users. So you could do it that way as well. Now, if we go back into our receiving console, I'm going to go ahead and pull up our purchase order that we were working with here. Click on the details. And then because I upset the system there, it's going to say here that it's still receiving in process, but we can see the results of that receipt. So I can see the item number here, the quantity ordered, the quantity that was actually received. If any of that inventory was damaged, it will say so there. I can see the user that did the receiving and then the time that they began and the time that they finished that specific line. So if there were multiple lines on here, you really could look and say, okay, and here it says 9:34. So maybe they started the purchase order at 9:34 and they didn't finish till 10:30, then you could see, that it took an hour to finish the purchase order and try to figure out why. All right. So that's kind of how the purchase order information works. Now, as soon as you would finish that purchase order, it would send back through integration to your ERP where it then would need to be approved and posted. If at any time you needed to do like a receipt on the fly or you had upper management that needed to do a receipt, there is this process receipt function, and that will allow you to receive a purchase order from the web console here. Okay, next we'll go into inventory operations. We're going to take a quick look at manufacturing. We're going to look at kitting. So kitting is a light assembly type of manufacturing. I need to select the bin in which I will be manufacturing my inventory. And then the next step is to enter the item number. This item number is going to reflect the finished good that you're going to be creating. So once I go in here, I need to enter in my finished good item number. Oh, cleared it out. All right, enter my finished good item number here. Click go. And then it's going to give me an item description for that finished good. If the item was lot tracked, it would prompt you for a lot number here. Since it is not, it's just grayed out. And then I need to enter the quantity I'd like to create. So in this case, let's say I'm going to create 10. I then click go, and what it's doing is pulling from the ERP a bill of materials for this item. So it'll take just a second here. It's going to go ahead and pull that bill of materials, and then what it's going to do is show me each raw material, the quantity that I currently have in this location here of those raw materials, and if I have enough to fulfill the kit or not. If I do not have enough inventory, it will not let me create the kit, but it will offer some time let me just try this one more time. Our server's been running a little slow today, so I do apologize for that. This is our demo server, so sometimes it gets a little, if we've got too much going on.
So just an interruption here as a reminder, as she's working through the kitting example, we do have light assembly, we have what we call job-based manufacturing, jobless manufacturing, the Willowware Partnership full MO manufacturing, and we also have quick MO manufacturing. Oh, and I almost forgot, and black box manufacturing. What is the difference between all these? Well, we certainly can dive deeper into that if manufacturing is of interest to you. We have blogs out there in the blog sphere, but I'd be happy to talk through some of those differences as well. Not cooperating today?
So yeah, it looks like the server is running a little slow, so we'll just go ahead and move on from that. But so really with kitting, what it would do is just allow you to create that finished good. So it would show you your raw materials. It's going to, once you create the kit, it's going to decrement that raw material quantity and then increase and create that finished good. So then all of those adjustments would then be sent back to your ERP as well. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to cycle count. I've already created and assigned out my cycle counts, but there are a couple different counts that I'd like to kind of discuss with you before we go ahead and jump into that. So for cycle counts, we've got one that we use. It's called generate cycle count, and that's like an ABC cycle count. So in your ERP, some of the ERP systems have the ability to assign a frequency to an item, and that can be like an ABC frequency. So what you would do is you would assign those frequencies to those items in your ERP system, and those frequencies would be based on how often that item needs to be counted. So this could be, you know, if it's a high or a fast moving item, if it's a higher cost item. So you may have some items that you want counted weekly, some that you want monthly, and some that just need to be once a year. You could set those frequencies, and then what would happen is we have a generate cycle count button, and you would click on that button in WOW, and it's going to pull those frequencies from your ERP, and then from those it will determine when those items were counted last and what needs to be counted next. So it will create that count and say, you know, we haven't counted these items in a month, they need to be counted again, and it will create a count for those specific items. The other two most commonly used counts within WOW are a bin-only count and an item count. The bin-only count is going to be where you assign a specific bin or bins within the warehouse, send the user to those locations, and have them count all of the items within the bin. Or you can do a count item, which is what we're doing today, and that's where you assign a specific item, and it sends the user to every location in the warehouse in which that item exists. So we're going to go ahead and pull up our cycle counts. Like I said, I've already assigned that out, and we'll come back and review that in the count console once we've finished with the count. Now again, before we jump in, I'm going to turn this to the side here so it's a little bit bigger. We are I'm going to just look at the user interface really quickly. I'm logged in here as a warehouse user. When I log in as a field service user, you'll see some different icons. So this is the warehouse user. I am using, you can see right here, this is showing that I am paired to a Socket Mobile socket scanner. What that is it's a device that is paired to my iOS through Bluetooth, and then it's paired to the application via this icon right here. This just allows for a more hands-free scanning. The example I like to use is maybe I have lots of racking in my warehouse. I want to mount my iPad to my forklift so that it's not moving around a lot. All I need to do then is when I go up to that higher racking to grab that inventory, I just need to bring my scanner, and it will stay paired to my device. We tested it. It can be about a football field away from the iOS device, and it will still scan. So that's very helpful. You can also use the camera that's built into the device. If I wasn't paired here, it would show a little barcode in this upper right-hand corner here. You would click that, and that turns on the camera for your device. So we're going to go ahead and jump into cycle counts, and then when we come back into the iOS, I'm going to show you a main screen scan. So we're going to do the cycle count quick. Now, since I've already got that count assigned, it's going to show all the bins that I need to go here. So now in these screens, you can tap through them or you can scan. There's also configurations that you can set to require scanning in all of these screens. I'm just going to tap here. I get to that bin, showing me my item that needs to be counted, and then item description. I click in one more time. I've got, again, the location, the item description, my unit of measure. If there's multiple, they will be listed if you click on this blue arrow. And then I need to enter the quantity that I see. You'll notice that the current quantity is at 0, and that's because this is a blind count. So it's just to ensure that the user is counting all of the inventory that they see in that location. When they're done, click on the Apple's icon. It will bring them back to go to the next location. Once I get there, this item is on a license plate. If you're not familiar with license plates, the description that I like to give is that it is a movable bin or a pallet ID. So maybe within a bin, you have multiple pallets. Each of those pallets could have a license plate number, and then that license plate number, if you were to scan it, it would know all of the items that are on that license plate. So what this is saying is go find in this WIP bin, go find this license plate, and then once you get to that license plate or pallet, look for this specific item. Now let's say we look for the item and it's not there. I'm going to go into options and do a 0 count. Say, you know, this item is not there. Then I click on the Apple icon and go back. And so now I'm just going to I'm going to quickly go through this here and just do some counts quick. And go ahead and get this done. And then once we're done with the user portion, we're going to go back into the web console, and we're going to take a look at the results of the count. So here I have my user going through, doing their count. And once the user is done here, so it will show all lines are grayed out and marked completed. I click on the Apple's icon. It says, would you like to complete this count? Yes. So now the user portion of the cycle count is completed. They can then continue to go about their day and do whatever else that they need to do. If there's another count, they could click back on cycle count and it would pop up if it's already assigned to them. But if I go back into the web console here, you would have, whether it be a warehouse manager or an administrator, that would be looking for the counts that are in a status of needs review. I can see that there was a count that was completed today at 9:47 this morning. I'm going to click on details, and it's going to show me the results of that cycle count. So what my system is currently set up at a 0 threshold here for quantity and percent variance. So if the count is off by even 1, it will flag me to do a recount. And we can look here and we see that in the overstock bin, the user counted the exact quantity that WOW believed there to be in inventory. And let's say I look at these two, the damage bin and this license plate here, and I say, you know what, one's not that big of a deal to me. I don't want those recounted. We'll just leave those as they are. But I do want these 3 locations to be recounted as the variances are rather high. I can assign that cycle count back out to that same user and have them do a recount of just these 3 locations. Or I can assign it to another user who has access to cycle count to get kind of a second set of eyes on that inventory and see what they see. Or I can do an update and complete. If I do an update and complete, it's going to say that this is the quantity here that the user counted while on the floor. This is the quantity that WOW believes there to be in inventory. If I click on update and complete, it's going to adjust the quantity to match the quantity that was counted. So it's going to do all these variances here. The adjustments will happen, and then all of those adjustments would then send back to your ERP in a batch. Okay? So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a pick of a transfer order. And I've already assigned that out, so I'm just going to have the order console pulled up here, and we'll come back to that once we have finished our pick. Before we jump into picking, I had mentioned that I wanted to show you a main screen scan. So a main screen scan is where you can scan a bin, an item, or a license plate, and it's going to show you all of the information about that specific scan. So if you scan an item, it's going to show you all locations and quantities of that item. If you scan a bin, it's going to show you all items in the bin and all quantities. So here, we're going to go ahead, I'm going to scan a bin, and it's going to then show me all items that are in the bin. If it's lot tracked, it will tell you the lot number that's in that bin location, and then how many of that item are in that location. So if I go here, if I look at this first item, we do a swipe from the right to the left. I can look at the history of this item. I can generate a cycle count, so it will create the count, but it will not assign it. It would need to be assigned at a later time. I can print labels for the item. I can do an inventory adjustment, and I'm not going to do the full adjustment, but we'll just click in here. You'll be able to see the current quantity that's in there. And as soon as you do the adjustment, actually, maybe I'll just do one really quick. Let's say there's actually 1453, showing there's an adjustment of 1. I click OK. That adjustment is automatically going to occur in WOW, and then it will send an adjustment back to your ERP as well. So we can see here it's updated to 1453. If the user does not have access to inventory adjustment, they will not see this button on their screen. And we've also got this acquire barcode. This is for if you wanted to associate another barcode with your item. So if you have a manufacturer's barcode that you wanted to associate, you could go ahead, go into acquire barcode. All you would need to do is scan, say, that manufacturer's barcode on that box, give it a scan, click on add, and now that number, or that item number, or that number is associated to that item. So I'm just going to actually cancel out of here really quick, and I'm trying to keep it moving. I know we're getting close to time here, so I want to show you everything I can. I just scanned that barcode that I associated with this item, and now it's going to show me this item and everywhere it exists in the quantities. So I can now use that barcode throughout the system. If I'm picking, if I'm doing a cycle count, it will know that that is the item I'm referring to when I scan it. All right, now if we go into picking, I'm just going to do a quick pick here of an order. You see I've got a bunch of different orders assigned to my user. I'm going to go in and just start typing in an order number so that if I do that, you'll see that it's going to pop up and say, oh, okay, you want order 80. Here it is. It's going to filter that down really quickly for me so I don't have to scroll through all of them. Now I'm going to tap on that line. It's going to pull up the line items for this order in just a moment here. And now in picking, you are required to scan. So I need to go, I would need to find my item. Once I get to this bin location, you'll notice here that the bin locations are listed. If the items are in different bins, it's going to send you serpentine throughout your warehouse. So we want to create the most efficient pick path, really reducing the amount of foot traffic in your warehouse. So now I see this item's lot tracked. I'm going to go up, I'm going to scan my item. If you have your lot number barcoded, you can scan it at this time, or you can go ahead and just key it in. There is enough inventory of this lot in this location, so we're going to go ahead. It says quantity picked 2, there's 0 left to be picked. You can click on options. So here I can print labels, I can get the next location. If I wanted to undo my pick, I can short a line or add a line. I'm going to click OK because I've completed this line. And then what it's going to do is it's going to gray out the line so that I know that it's completed here. Now, I cannot click the OK button until all of my order has been picked or shorted or however it needs to be done. But I'm going to go here, I'm going to pick, find that, pick my item. And then I'm just, once this is done, the whole order is complete, the OK button will be highlighted. and I'm going to go ahead and click that, and it's going to prompt me if I'd like to ship immediately, yes or no. So if you say no, it will send you to a staging location, and you can go ahead and stage that order. Or if you say yes, it's going to allow you to do that shipment. And it's now going to prompt me for some labels, so if I want to print any delivery slips, bill of lading, any type of final documents, I can go ahead and print those from this screen. And then once I've completed it, it would remove here from my queue here, but I just, looks like something might have happened with our server here. It's not allowing me to ship. So what I was going to show you here, my plan was, so I was picking a transfer order, and what we were going to do, I'll show you here in the order console, when you pick a transfer order, I was going to pick this transfer and transfer it to a field service tech. So from there, it would show when you're picking, I have it set up in the back end to pick to a license plate automatically, and it will show me here it was picking to license plate 1204. And the great thing about this is that, so I was going to pick it, and then I was going to say, you know what, yes, ship, I just want it to be sent to my field tech. Now, when it gets to that field tech, and you wouldn't always have to send it, you know, it could be, you could store it in the locker, but we just marked it kind of as shipped so that, or completed essentially, so that when that user gets there, they can just come and pick it up. There doesn't have to be any other steps. They can just start receiving it into their inventory in their vehicle. So how you would do that is I'm going to log out of here quick, and I'm going to log in as my field tech. And then what I would do is I could take this license plate number, go into receive inventory, and now because I wasn't able to ship, it's not going to work. But here I could scan that license plate number, and it would allow me to bring in with that one scan all of this inventory here. So all I would need to do is I would scan it, it would show me the items, I would click OK, and then just with that one scan, all the inventory is now in my field location, in my truck. With field service, there are some other things that Steve had mentioned briefly. I know we've only got a couple minutes, so I'll maybe click into the screens and kind of show you. For a return, I had already restarted a return here, so it's going to show the return that was generated and the items that are on the return. If you want to add a part, you can do that always. Let me just do this. I'm just going to type an item in here and see if I can do a return for this one. So here I would then, if you want to associate it to a job, you can enter a job that you're doing the return from. You got your unit of measure, your quantity that you're going to return, and then type in any notes. So if something is broken, you could type that in there. I'm just going to back out of here. Jobs is kind of like a pick or like a work order. If you're going out to, you know, the field tech is going out to a customer and say maybe they're installing something or they have to fix something, they will have jobs for those or work orders. And they're going to say, okay, you know, I'm going here, I need work order, let's say 2251 here. I could go in showing the item that needs to then be consumed for that work order.
So great, Brianna. Appreciate that little high-level look at the field service. And just again as a reminder, Apple, Android, smartphone, tablet, iTouch, all compatible with the Apple's without wire solution. So you have now the ability within the four walls, as you saw the front part of the demo, and outside into remote locations and field service trucks and trunks. The ability to track that inventory, cycle count it, min-max replenish it, barcode scan it, so you really put a flashlight everywhere it needs to be. And so we're just going to do a transition here, and one other comment on the field service as a reminder you heard on the front end. The complementary aspects of the ERP, the job creation tool, which again could be GP Field Service, Wensoft, Field Connect, Field Point, all those tools, and Apple's Field Service is the kind of the triangle. Those three pieces together give you that optimal performance if that's a need of your company, in addition to the many manufacturing options that we have. So Timmy, if it's okay, what we'll do is with those last two slides that I have, we'll do our wrap-up so we keep everybody on time today with our session. So thank you for that. Again, we'll leave time for a couple questions at the end, but going back where we started, Apples, the art of inventory, and hopefully today you've got a feel for KTL and Apples as your trusted advisors and what that can mean to you to extend your capabilities with your Dynamics platform. The adaptive architecture, very homogeneous, organically grown company and design, and the without wire, wow, intuitive technologies, things like intelligent license plates, barcode acquire, main screen scanning, cycle counting with ABC capabilities, real time throughout the day. So just some examples there. And then finally, Timmy's recording this presentation, so you can share this with others, but you can hear more about us on the Distribution Software blog, erpsoftwareblog.com, my contact information, our website, and we do monthly executive briefings, so another way to extend to the rest of your team if you saw something interesting.